Freeman's verbal guidance is dedicated to helping people awaken the power of their own mind through motivation, conscious thinking, inner healing, spiritual wisdom, and personal transformation. This channel explores mindset, manifestation, self-belief, peace, healing, and the limitless potential within all of us. Your mind is more powerful than you realise. Hello and welcome back to the channel for part 5 of the teachings that I've learnt from the Little Money Bible by Stuart Wilde. You can find this on audiobook on the Master Key Society. There's plenty of other books on there that you can listen to. You know, they're quite educating, really interesting. So in this session anyway, we're going to talk about freedom, and not just financial freedom, but emotional freedom. Because when people constantly live in fear around money, stress slowly begins stealing their peace. And over time, many people forget what it feels like to truly relax, to breathe deeply, to feel present, to trust life again. Instead, the mind becomes trapped in constant pressure, always thinking ahead, always worrying, always calculating, always preparing for disaster. And eventually, survival thinking becomes normal. But human beings were not designed to live permanently in fear. The nervous system needs peace. The mind needs stillness. The soul needs hope. And one of the greatest things a person can learn is this: external success means very little if inner peace is absent. Because many people spend years chasing wealth while neglecting their emotional well-being. You know, they'll sacrifice their sleep, their health, their relationships, the peace of mind, believing that one day, after enough achievement, happiness will finally arrive. But happiness, constantly postponed, often becomes happiness never experienced. And that is why balance matters. And balance begins internally. You see, money is not itself the enemy, nor is ambition. You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting a better life. There's nothing wrong with wanting stability. Nothing wrong with wanting success. Yeah, the deeper question is, what emotional state are we living in while pursuing those things? Are we building from fear or from purpose? From panic or from peace? Because the energy behind our actions matter. A person driven entirely by fear often becomes exhausted, but a person driven by meaning develops resilience, and meaning changes everything. When somebody connects their life to purpose, helping others, as in creating something valuable, healing someone, teaching people, growing something, their relationship with money often becomes healthier. Because money stops being only about survival, it becomes connected to contribution. And contribution creates fulfillment. And that is why some of the happiest people are not necessarily the richest. You know, they are the people who feel aligned internally, aligned with themselves, aligned with purpose, and aligned with their values. And perhaps that's what many people are truly searching for beneath financial goals. It's alignment. The feeling that life has meaning. The feeling that they matter. The feeling that they are becoming who they were meant to become. Now, another important truth is this: many people are carrying emotional exhaustion that has nothing to do with money itself. Money simply becomes the surface level focus. But underneath, there may be years of pressure, stress, rejection, self-doubt, trauma, or maybe emotional pain. And when people are emotionally depleted, even small financial problems can feel overwhelming. And that is why healing matters so deeply, because healing restores energy, and energy affects every area of life. A healed mind thinks differently, it responds differently, chooses differently, not perfectly, but more consciously. And consciousness is power, because unconscious fear keeps people repeating cycles automatically. But awareness creates choice. For example, a person may suddenly notice that they always expect the worst financially, or constantly panic whenever money leaves their account, or maybe they'll sabotage opportunities because success feels unfamiliar. And these patterns often begin in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is shaped through repetition and emotion, especially during childhood. If someone grows up around fear, instability, criticism, or lack, their nervous system may become conditioned to expect struggle. Even when life improves later, the body may still react as though danger is everywhere. And that is why some people find it difficult to relax, even during peaceful moments. Their mind has been trained for survival. But survival mode is not meant to become a permanent identity. People can retrain the mind slowly, patiently, compassionately. And one of the most powerful ways to begin is through self-awareness. Simply noticing your thoughts without immediately believing them. Because not every fearful thought is truth. Sometimes fear is just old conditioning speaking. And once people realise this, they begin reclaiming their power. They stop identifying completely with every negative thought. Instead, they begin observing the mind. And observation creates space. Space to respond differently. Space to breathe. Space to choose peace over panic. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring practical responsibilities. Financial wisdom still matters. Your budgeting still matters. Learning matters and discipline matters. But emotional stability matters as well. Because financial decisions made from panic are often unhealthy. Fear clouds your judgment. Peace creates clarity. And clarity creates better choices. And that's why emotional regulation is one of the greatest forms of inner wealth. A calm mind can think clearly during difficult moments. A grounded person can adapt more effectively. And adaptability is one of the most valuable skills in life. Because life changes constantly. Economies change, circumstances change, relationships change. The people who grow strongest are often not those who avoid difficulty entirely, but those who learn how to remain emotionally centered through change. And this brings us back to energy. Everything we repeatedly think, feel, and focus upon affects our emotional energy. If someone spends every day consumed by fear, anger, comparison, and hopelessness, their energy becomes heavy. But when someone begins practicing gratitude, self-respect, calmness, hope, their energy changes. Not overnight, but gradually. A gradual transformation is still transformation. And sometimes people expect healing to happen immediately. But real growth is often quiet. It often happens through repeated choices, repeated awareness, repeated self-respect, maybe repeated moments of courage. And over time, those moments build a new identity, a stronger identity, an identity that no longer is completely controlled by fear. And perhaps that is the real abundance. Not simply having more, but fearing less, trusting yourself more, living more consciously, experiencing peace without needing external perfection. Because peace is not only found in circumstances, peace is also cultivated within. And when inner peace grows, people stop feeling emotionally enslaved by every challenge that life presents. And that is freedom, real freedom. Not the absence of all problems, but the ability to remain grounded while facing them. You know, tonight, that is the reminder, you know, that you are stronger than your fear has convinced you. You're more capable than your past may suggest to you. And the mind, when healed and guided with awareness, can become one of the most powerful forces for transformation in your entire life. You know, so that will bring us to the end of part 5. You remember this, you know, the richest people are not always those with the most money, but often those with the most peace within themselves. All right? Keep that one in mind. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you back on part 6. Thank you very much. Bye.